Hi guys, this is Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner, and I'm going to apologize first because I was supposed to have been on here a half hour ago and I've had some technical difficulties. So I do apologize for that, and I hope you will bear with me. I'm a little new to the whole live streaming thing, so that's kind of how it works with technology. You try to get everything to work right. So I'm using a different setup than what I was planning on, but we're going to go ahead and work with this. First off, I am real excited to be a part of the world's biggest virtual Christmas market. And before we get started, I'd like to make sure that you do go ahead and turn on live chat in the chat box so that you can see all of the chat responses that come through and you don't miss anything. Do you want to go ahead and say hi to Joanna that I see is already on there? So also I'd love to know where you are watching from. I am in Florida where it is still hot. It's a little bit overcast, and that's not too bad, but it is still pretty hot. It's finally a little bit cooler so that we can actually open windows, but I know a lot of you guys all over the world, and it's a lot cooler in a lot of places. Anyway, so what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you how I created these cards. I actually got the idea from a video that I saw online not too long ago, and I thought that is so cool. And I just thought, how can I duplicate that? I don't have the same dies or stamps that I saw in the original video. So what these are, you can see, is just a regular card. But on the front, you can see that kind of moves. This, I created an ornament. And it's pretty heavy, so they'll be able to hang this on their tree without a problem. And I went back and, of course, made a second one. This is also some stuff that I made using some of the scraps that I already had on hand. So that is kind of cool. You can use what you already have, or you can create from whatever stamps and dies that you have. It's entirely up to you how you want to go about this. These are a bunch of medallions that I made last Christmas season using a really nice stamp set. Let me get that out so you can see it. This one is the holiday seals. This one is from the Stamping Village, and it's got basically all these different companies got together and created a nice little stamp. So these are like what you would basically. Okay, thank you, Chantel. Chantel is helping me out with this, letting me know what else is going on. She's been super awesome, and she's going to kind of put everything together for the world's biggest virtual Christmas market. Anyway, these little seals are like what you would basically stamp or put a sticker on the back of your card to hold it shut. So I thought those were really cool. And I just made a bunch of medallions. I just felt like I'm coloring. I think it was probably around Thanksgiving, but I wasn't, I didn't really have anything planned for them. That's the thing. So I have a ton of these. So what I'm going to do, or rather what I did do over the last couple of days, is I used just a regular small ornament die. You could use just a circle die. And I cut out a bunch of additional little pieces. And the way that I made those, one I did with a piece of foam. So this is a piece of foam that is about an 1/8 of an inch thick that I cut out to go along with it. And then I did a lot more of the of cardstock. And since this is going to be an ornament, we do want it to be a little thicker so that it's easier it'll hang on the tree well. It'll be nice and solid. It won't just flutter around like a regular piece of paper would. So what I did is I've got a piece of cardstock one here, and I'm going to go ahead and just glue that to my foam. So I'm going to go ahead and do the foam one first, glue it on the front and glue it on the back, and then put these little emblems on the front. Now, like I said, you could use anything for this. Something I think would be pretty cool, and I just thought about this. I thought, that we've had lots of different types of ornaments on our trees, different shapes and things. And I made these from a Spellbinder's die, but that would be perfect on the front of one of those as well. And that way it would be more sturdy. It would be able to stick together. Now, those I'm actually using for another card, but that is another idea for me. So I'm going to go ahead and get out my art glitter glue and just start gluing some of these pieces together. Like I said, you could just use a circle die and then attach a string, and that would be perfect. And I'm going to make sure I get around the edges really well because I want this to stick together. I don't want it to start peeling apart. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down and just line that up with the top. And then I am going to get something I'm just going to put a book on it so that it has time to dry. One of the nice things about art glitter glue is that it does dry pretty quick, but sometimes it'll take a second, and you can shift things around. That should be pretty nice and dry. So I'm going to go ahead and do this with the second one. Get a little bit more glue here on the edge. And I just realized that I am talking way too fast, and I do apologize for that. I think part of it is just that I'm frustrated with the technological difficulties that I had. Again, I am so sorry about that and coming on so late, but I am very glad, Joanna, that you decided to stop by, and I know other folks will be watching too. If you've all dropped in and haven't already said hello, please go ahead and say hello, and leave me a message over in the chat. Let me know that you're here and where you're watching from, what kind of weather you guys have got there. So that one is all ready to go. Like I said, you want it to be fairly thick so that it can hang on the tree well. And these, actually what I did with those is like there are multiple layers of cardstock already for these medallions. There's the piece that I, excuse me, the piece that I stamped and cut out as a circle. And then I've got 2 layers of the scallop circle. You don't have to use scallops. That's just what I use. Like I said, I made these last year. So now I'm going to go ahead and apply that to the front of this as well. Now what you want is you want to have approximately 6 layers, around 6 layers of cardstock at least in there so that it is really nice and sturdy. This one, I really didn't need that much on the cardstock because I've got that layer of foam. And I'm going to go ahead and position that so that it has the sentiment pretty much straight. And then I'm just going to flip it over and put the other one on there as well. That's one reason why I've got all of these laid out. These are where I've got duplicates, so it'll make for a perfect 2-sided ornament. Now I'm going to glue that one in place. Again, I want the top to be at the top and the sentiment to be pretty much straight. Now you can also, what I did on these, you can also die cut the top again and put that on there, but be honest, I forgot to do it on this one. And since this one's got a cute little red hat, I'm going to just use some red and white baker's twine. And I cheat. I have a hard time getting anything to go through the little hole. So I'm going to be using this little flosser. It's got a long end and then it's got a loop around the end. And it's perfect for threading things through things like this. I always have a hard time with that. But I can actually loop it. I can thread it through the big loop. Okay, so just have that, and then I'm going to go ahead and just trim this down, trim it off, and tie a knot in the end. Okay, so now we've got the ornament, but we also need a card. So I've gone ahead and cut out some plain panels. I really like this design. That's just the cover panel die over matching cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and get that die out again. This die is from My Favorite Things. It's the Peekaboo Polka Dots, and it's no longer available, which kind of sucks. But there's lots of different designs that you can use for that. And I'm also going to, which I forgot I was going to do, I'm going to get out a rectangle die. What did I do with my rectangular die? Okay, this is one of the Hero Arts nesting dies, the infinity dies. It's going to be the right size. And this is just so that it stays straight in there. I'm also using my new magic mat. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. This is so cool. I'm able to use that in place of one of the mats in my die cutting machine. And I have a Gemini Junior. There's different sandwiches you use for different machines. This one, the basic sandwich to go through my Gemini Junior is going to be the 2 cutting plates and the magic mat in the middle. The reason for that is magic mat is a bit thinner than the plates that go in my cutting machine. If you're using a Sizzix Big Shot or Big Kick, you would basically just use this and one of the plates for your Big Kick machine. So go ahead and put my cardstock down and put both of these down. Okay, I'm picking them back up again so I can try to get them layered straight. And that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it this way. I've gotten in the habit of, on my Gemini Junior, doing all of my die cutting up, facing up. And the cutting pads that I have are a little bit warped. So hopefully that won't be too bad. Go ahead and line that up. Should be about straight. Put that one on top. Put my other one on top, and then just run that through my Gemini Junior. As long as I have everything lined up straight, it should cut out fine and give me a panel similar to that. Okay, so let's see how it did. And this thing just cuts out so nice. And it looks like the panel was pretty much the right size anyway, so that's fine. I'm actually going to trim it down just a touch because I want it to be, I'm going to have a little bit of that border like what I've done on the other ones. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim that down with my Fiskars trimmer. And I'm basically just lining up the edges of the circles at about, I guess it would leave about 1/8 of an inch on the edge. Okay, and since this guy has the gold, I'm going to use the gold on the back of that. So here's the way that the front of the panel is going to look. And I just think that is so cute. Let me get one of my card bases. And I'm going to go ahead and just glue this down again with our glitter glue. One of the reasons I like using our glitter glue for this is that it is strong, but it also gives me that second to reposition when I don't get it quite straight. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing with this panel. This one, I'm going to basically just put a little bit of glue along the edges and in the gaps around the edges, and then a little bit on the inner portions as well. So it's not going to really need a whole lot to hold it down. Okay. And this stuff also dries clear, which is nice. That way you don't have, dries clear and matte, so you don't have little places where you see it left over. So now this guy is going to go right in the middle in the front, but we need to have something to make it so that it holds on. So what I'm going to do is open it up, and I'm going to just take a piece of washi tape in this one. On some other ones that I've done, I've also, printed out a sticker, and I may go back and replace this little guy with the sticker on there. And the sticker would just basically say, remove me and put me on your tree. I'll show you what I did on the others so you know what I'm talking about. And there is your card with your ornament on the front. So this one I did have a little note that says, remove me and hang me from your Christmas tree. And I'm going to go ahead and print out a couple more labels. So I've got on that one. I'm also noticing that because I did the foam, this one is actually quite a bit thicker than this other one that I did. But both of them are nice. Both of them will work great on a tree. So another idea that I had besides doing the medallions is that if you've got an ornament shape that you want to use, you could do some heat embossing. So these are ones that I did heat embossing on. You could use your dry embossing plates. I think I'm going to do one of those because I think that would be pretty cute. So this one is from Paper Studio, and it is Holly. And let's see, I think I want to do that one on the green. And of course I'll need two, one for the front and one for the back. And I need another. I hate it when I change my mind. I don't have all the stuff that I need. Actually, I'm going to try it like this. This may not be enough pressure, but I'm going to give it a shot and see how I do. Yeah, that was not enough pressure. So I'm going to use that plastic shim that comes in it. I really should be using the embossing mat that goes with the machine, but I don't remember where I put it. Okay, that felt like it probably went through better. Oh, and that is so pretty. Yeah, those look really, really nice. And I don't have any more foam, but that's okay. Like I said, I cut out a ton of, actually I do have another piece of foam. I'm going to go ahead and use a piece of foam and 2 pieces of cardstock to attach it. That way it's nice and thick. I'm going to attach this green holly covered ornament to that. Then do the same on the other side. and add that second green ornament. I think this would probably be a really cool idea as for having something personalized on there as well. You could ink up the edges on your ornament. You can actually, I'm going to do something like that. I've got some Catherine Pooler ink. I'm just going to use the grass skirt. It's not too dark. And then I'm going to just do a little bit of inking over the top. And this is so it'll try to bring out those embossed pieces, embossed images a little bit better. I think I'm going to do a little extra on the outside edge. And that is coming out so pretty. Definitely gives it a little more definition. So here's how it looked originally. And then you can see that extra definition just from adding that little bit of ink. Go ahead and do this side as well. And now there's a second ornament pretty much ready to go onto another card. Now for this one, I am going to, I did not cut extra cardstock for this one because I didn't think of it in time. But I'm going to make another card similar to what we did on the other, but I may use one of my embossing folders instead. That is going to be pretty cool. And then I'm going to go back and use some Nuvo drops to bring out those little berries. And since that needs some time to dry, I'm going to go ahead and do one side, and I know that I'm going to go back and do the other side before I add it to a card. I'm just adding that to each of those little berries. I think there's one more on this side. And that is going to be a pretty ornament for someone to put on their tree. I think I'm going to go ahead and put together these other ones that I know that are pretty much ready to go. This one, it says Elf Inspected, Santa Approved. I think that is pretty cute. And I'm going to use some of the red cardstock pieces that I had already cut out. And if I need one, I can go and use some of the white, or I can cut out more if we need some more. Got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces here. And then Santa on each side, and that does feel like it's thick enough, so I'll go ahead and use that. This one, it looks like I didn't cut it quite straight, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in the middle. So again, we're just going to use our art glitter glue. To attach each of these together. And I know I'm using 2 different colors of red, but to be honest, nobody is going to notice. The only people that are going to know that I did that is going to be you guys watching this video. And my husband, who is sitting over here in the corner and on his computer, and he doesn't care, so.
What?
Okay, and then I'm going to, what I had planned on doing on one of the others, if I can find it again, I had cut out a couple of little toppers. Now I don't know where I put them. They were here just a little while ago. I guess I'm not going to do it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut out a couple more little toppers in silver. So I'm just going to cut a piece of silver cardstock off of this page. And then I'm going to go through my die cutting machine and just cut the top off. This is one other thing I want to let you know about the magic mat, just because I love this thing. It does warp just like the plates do. However, taking a bit of heat to it, like with your Ranger heat gun, will straighten it right back out, so it's easy to use the next time around. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there. Add both of my cutting plates and just run it through my Gemini Junior. So now we've got a silver topper for one side. And I'm going to run it through again to get another one. I probably should have cut that paper a little bit bigger, but it's okay. It'll be fine. And that tells me I did not have my plate lined up. I'm sure that you guys heard that loud screeching sound from my Gemini Junior. That's because I didn't have this lined up correctly. But I do now have 2 toppers. And then to add that on, I'm just going to go ahead and glue them in place up here at the top. Kind of makes it look like an actual ornament. Go ahead and do that on the other side as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and add Santa. And that just looks so cute. Then I'm going to add it to the back. Okay. So for this one, I do have my red cardstock that matches, and a card base, and then a panel. This one, I think I'm going to do it a little bit differently than I did that one. On the first one, I just used that cover plate die, and that works perfectly fine. But for this one, I think I'm going to use instead, again, one of my embossing folders. And I think I want to go with the snowflake swirl. This is just so, so, so pretty. So go ahead and put that in there. This time I'm not going to use the magic mat because magic mat was starting to get warped a little faster than what I would like. But instead I'm going to just use the plates that came with my Gemini Junior and run that through. Except it does not want to use that one, so I'm just going to do with just the plates. Not a big fun. And of course I had forgotten that because these are thicker than the magic mat, it didn't want the extra shell. Take a look at that. That is just too pretty. Yes, that's going to look great. So now I'm going to go ahead and get out my trimmer again. I want to have a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a border around each piece. So my card base is regular standard A2 size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I'm going to cut the red piece down to 4 by 5 1/4. So now there's going to be a little white border all the way around. And then for my embossed piece, and since this side didn't seem to get as embossed as heavily as it would have, I'm going to go ahead and cut it down to 3 3/4, cutting on this side. And then I think I want to keep this part. And then I'm going to cut a little bit off of each side because they are both so pretty. Cut it down to 5 by 3 3/4. And then that is going to go on the top there. Again, centered in the middle. And then we've got Santa with a snowy background. Go ahead and start gluing these together. The main thing that you're doing with these is you're using your focal image to become a keepsake for the person you're sending the card to. So I know some folks hang on to the cards, but you only have so much space to keep these things, especially when you get a bunch of them. And most of them just go in a drawer somewhere. So now I think I want this flourish here where the wind is blowing to go down at the bottom. So I'll go ahead and put that there. And then we use some of the red twine again. And my little tool to get that actually threaded through. These flossers are great. And then I will tie it off at the end. And then again, you just position it where you want it in the front, loop the string around, and then just tack it down with some washi tape or a label. And now they've got this nice little ornament to put on their tree once they get the card. I think because this one is also so clean and simple on the front, I'm going to go ahead and add a few Nuvo drops on there as well and then set it aside to dry. Actually, I don't want to do it with that. I want to do it with, I think I'm going to add this. This is Nuo Glitter Accents in Fresh Snowfall. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to put a little bit extra on. No, I'm not going to mess with this hat. That's just going to cause issues if I do that. And that's just going to give a little extra dimension on there. Now, if I had this, since everything is in red and white, it would work well with that. Now I'm thinking I should have used a different background because you can't really see those. But I think this guy turned out pretty cute too, though. Okay, so I've got a couple more that I want to go ahead and do. I've got the paper out for, and I do want to thank you guys for sticking around. I hope that these have given you some inspiration so you can do some crafting coming up for the holidays. So we've got this little guy. This one says Winter Wishes, Holiday Kisses, and it's some mistletoe. I'm going to go ahead and glue that one on, create another ornament. Glue the other piece of paper on the other side of the foam. I do have to say, using foam definitely speeds up the die cutting time. You don't have to cut nearly as many of your images, of your shapes, as you would normally. It has a piece of, I think, 1/8 of an inch foam. That is perfect. It winds up actually being thicker than if you use like 6 or 8 pieces of cardstock. So now I'm going to go ahead and add some glue to the back of this embellishment. Make sure it's facing up. And this one is easier to line up because the top there is perfect for up at the top there. And then do the same thing on the back here. I mean, you can knock out a ton of these in just very little time. And these were fairly simple images to stamp and color. I mean, I didn't color all of them. Some of them I did, like this guy. But that is, I think I used just, this one I actually used colored pencil on, so it was real quick. This one I would need, I don't know that I've got the right color string over here. That's okay. Go ahead and make the, I had, oh, here's my gold. I had gold and then a white panel. For this one, I think I'm going to use the sheet music. That would be kind of cool. Just run that through. Okay, that's pretty. I'll go ahead and cut that back. And this one, because it's going to be on the front, is going to be 3 3/4 by 5. I'll go ahead a little bit off of the top. There we go. And then the gold is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, do not do what I just did. I just accidentally, because I forgot those were drying, I just accidentally. Okay, this part I'm going to have to do something to try to fix that. I can't believe I did that. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. I have another one right here. I'm going to take this guy off. And glue this one on in place. Because the red, that just ruined it. Okay, so that's there. Can't believe I did that. Go ahead and glue the gold on. And with this mirror cardstock, it is real good that I'm actually going to be covering most of it because you can see all the glue lines from the art glitter glue. Normally I would use tape, but I have been having issues getting things to go on straight, so I did not want to try doing that with this. But you can see those glue lines. But that's fine because this panel is going to be covering it up. And I feel like this side is a little bit longer than what I'd like, so I'm going to go ahead and trim the edge off. Okay, now that border looks better. And then this one can go on there. Now, I believe I've got some white and gold twine. Don't have it at my desk at the moment, so I'm going to put this one to the side and then I will add that twine later. I think we've got time for probably one more. And I'm going to do this one with some foam. So this is just a piece of fun foam from Doris. I'm going to go ahead and just run that through with that ornament die. I'm going to run that through my Gemini Junior so we've got a thicker piece there. I think I've got enough room. Now this piece I don't have quite enough room for two. So again, we've got the mat, put one on the top, one on the bottom, and just run it straight on through. And foam is, so it does stick a little bit, but that still went through fine. For this one, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this guy. Did I have two of those? No, but I can emboss another one in a bit. So for this one, I'm just going to do this ornament with it on the front. And the hole did not want to punch through quite right, so I'm just going to go ahead and use a hole punch to punch that through. And that's good enough. Actually tore it apart, but we've got the other pieces that are going to hold it. So that'll be fine. Well, that's actually another good example. Let's just say, I think I'm going to do that with this one anyway. This one is going to be, instead of being an ornament shape, it's going to be a circle. So you've just got circle dies. You don't have any, can't do that on that one. Oh, I do have 2 silver. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do it on both. So you don't have an ornament die, but you've got a circle die. So, got my 2 circles for the outside. Got my foam. I'm going to use 2 more of my ornament dies. I'm going to cut those into circles instead to be that extra cardstock layer. I do really like the way that those are coming out. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue all of these together. Before I do that, though, I'm going to go ahead and take some twine. And instead of running it through the hole, because these don't have any holes, I mean, you could always just use a hole punch and do those, I'm going to just go ahead and take some washi tape and tape, if I can get them on there. I'm going to tape the ends on the inside. And the reason for the tape right now is just to hold them in place. It's not really going to do anything additional. So I'm going to first go ahead and make sure I've got plenty of glue right around them. And then I'm going to go ahead and put one of these panels on the outside. So that one is now attached. So now you've basically got an ornament. But we're going to decorate it up some more. I'm going to go ahead and put this second cardstock panel on. And this is what I mean by you can use any kind of die that you have. Now, really intricate ones like the truck from Spellbinders, Trucking Through the Seasons, that one is probably not good to use on its own, but you could always attach it to another panel that's going to work with it, like that. So that I think would work really well, and I'm probably going to do some of those as well. So this guy, this blank, is ready for the extra embellishment. Before we do that, though, I think I'm going to add a little bit more ink onto this one too, just like we did on the embossed one there. I'm going to take some Catherine Pooler Fiesta Blue and a blending brush and just go around the edges. Kind of just giving it a little bit of a vignette effect. You know, not too much, not too heavy-handed. But yeah, I think that turned out pretty good. Do the same thing on the other side because you want them to match as best we can. That one has more embossing on it. I think I stamped repeatedly and it must have gotten a little bit off center. This one, on the other hand, has got a lighter layer of embossing. That just gives them 2 different views. So that looks pretty good. Then I'll just go ahead and glue that onto our ornament. And then the same thing on the back. And now you've got another ornament. And this again would go on the front of a card base. And I also had done a little other embossing. I wonder how one of those panels would look. What did I do with them? This one is a watercolor smushed. I think that gets a little bit lost. Maybe with the red up top. That one looks pretty cool. So I think what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to get a silver matting layer. Actually, I've got some silver right here. So I'll cut this panel down to 3 3/4. And this is watercolor paper, so it is a little bit heavier. So 3 3/4 by 5. And then my silver, I'll cut down to 5 1/2. Rather, I wanted it 5 1/4 by 4. So now we've got, oh, that's neat looking. Go ahead and glue this one down. And I just saw, Joanna, that you are from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So thank you so much for dropping in on me. I mean, you should probably come down here because it's nice and cool. I mean, nice and warm compared to where I know it's going to be cold up there in Canada. I'm just one of those, I can't handle the cold. Of course, I got that a little bit crooked. So that's one of the wonders of our glitter glue. It sticks very, very well, but it does give you a second to move things around. Okay, and then I'm going to put this watercolor panel down. Okay, and then I do want to trim that edge on this side again as well because it was a bit thicker than the 1/8 of an inch that I wanted. Of course, this one's crooked too. I know you guys always put it down in just in the right place every single time, right? You never have to reposition anything. Okay, so there's that one. And just like we did on the others, I'm looping it over the top. So it'll hang down just a touch. And then I'm going to tape it on the inside. And for this one, I think that it would look really nice with like a sentiment down here at the bottom, or even on the ornament itself. For each of these, I am going to go ahead and make that additional sticker. So I've got, I can't believe it. We made, how many cards did I make today? So these are the 2 that I started off with. These 2, plus this one that needs a little drying time. this one that needs the right color cord, and then this little ornament that still needs a card to go with it. So you guys sat with me here where I basically made 5 cards. So I want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm really hoping that this has inspired you to get going on your holiday card crafting, and I would love to see what you create. So come over to Facebook and join me on my Facebook group. It's called Crafting with Debbie. I'd also love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's Debbie J's Crafting Corner for more inspirational and how-to videos. Mostly I do card making. Right now I'm doing about 3 videos or so a week. 3 videos or so a week, and one of those is a live stream that I'm doing on Tuesday. So I'd love for you guys to drop by and say hi and hang out with me. Thank you again for everything, and you guys have a wonderful day. And go ahead and make some of these. I mean, I truly believe that if I can make it, you can too.